Let me hold that. Yeah.
Can you get a good volume on you?
I don't know. We'll try.
So I can call the signature first. They own the signature.
Where's Mel?
Right. No, he's probably
How's your battery going? We might need to move your battery.
Okay, we're going to start.
this way, guys. You have to be short people in the front. Rolling.
Rolling, okay. The constitutional defenders of Texas and other patriotic citizens of Dallas-Fort Worth and the Metroplex are here today to serve notice that all three branches of our government have, through executive orders, legislation, and judicial decisions, violated the Constitution of the United States and have gone beyond the enumerated limitations prescribed in the Constitution. We have peaceably assembled here today in keeping with the prescriptions and principles found in the First Amendment of the Constitution. The fifth platform of the First Amendment affirms the right of the people of these United States to peaceably assemble and petition redress for grievances. Our elected officials and men and women appointed to the Supreme Court took an oath to protect the Constitution from foreign and domestic enemies. We have observed that there is a gross dereliction of duty in both political parties to fulfill this fundamental duty and responsibility connected with their oath and their service to we the people. The constitutional defenders of Texas seek redress for grievances evident in unconstitutional acts targeted against our unalienable rights. We have identified a list of 50 constitutional violations perpetrated against we the people of the United States by our government and our elected officials. We have vetted this list with our constitutional attorney, Mr. Michael Conley, who is also the executive director of the United States Justice Foundation. Mr. Conley has affirmed and substantiated our findings. Today, we are petitioning for redress. Redress means to set right, to amend, to remedy, to repair a wrong or ill against we the people. We believe that the federal government cannot be permitted to hold a monopoly on constitutional interpretation. We the people have a role to play in determining what is constitutional or not. We believe it is the stewardship responsibility of the people of the United States to defend and protect our God-given unalienable rights and those principles of limited government embedded in the Constitution. To hold accountable those we elect to both serve our interests and to protect the Constitution. We believe that the National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, is an example of an unconstitutional law that violates the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th Amendment to the Constitution. We believe Obamacare is unconstitutional and that Justice Roberts' decision was unconstitutional and went beyond the enumerated limitations specified to the Supreme Court in the Constitution. We believe that HHS mandate is an encroachment, a gross encroachment on our religious liberty and violates the First Amendment to the Constitution. We have therefore created a petition to send to our elected officials, both in Washington, D.C. and in Austin, Texas, demanding redress through nullification of all unconstitutional acts, and to do so immediately. Our petition can be found at our website, constitutionaldefendersoftexas.com, That's constitutionaldefenders.com of Texas.com. And we are asking all patriotic citizens, men and women in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex, to join our cause by joining us at our website, the constitutionaldefendersoftexas.com, and sign our petition for redress. Help us nullify all unconstitutional acts against our Constitution. Say who you are, Adrian.
My name is Adrian Murray.
Louder.
The Constitution of the United States is one of, if not the, greatest liberty documents ever drafted by the hand of man. Written as it was at a time when the world had previously known only tyrants and kings, emperors and despots, monarchs and dictators, our Constitution was premised on the simple, yet for that day radical, notion that man was capable of governing himself. Yet the framers of the Constitution were acutely aware of man's propensity for corruption, of the debilitating and intoxicating seduction of power. So there was a reason why they included in the document, right up front in Article 1, Section 1, speaking of the presidency, quote, "Before he enters on the execution of his office, he shall take the following oath or affirmation. I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States." That is a measure of the value that the founders placed in the Constitution. For years, this ideal served us well. Due to respect for, adherence of, and loyalty to the Constitution, America prospered. Freedom flourished, not just here in the United States, but in nations all across the world, who looked to America as a beacon of hope and inspiration as they too untethered themselves from the shackles of tyranny. In recent decades, our federal government has seen fit to abuse the limited powers granted to it by the Constitution. Elected officials, with one hand resting firmly upon the word of God, swear to protect the Constitution, while the other hand, placed firmly behind their back, they shred it. What began as a trickle has now become a torrent, with a Congress which simply chooses to ignore the limits of its power and seeks to impose its will upon the people, and with a president who rules by executive fiat and decree, the very hallmarks of tyranny this nation has already once had to endure. Not again. For too long, the people watched in silence. For too long, the theft of our freedom has accelerated. The people are silent no more. The Constitution either means something or it doesn't. It is the intent of constitutional defenders of Texas to do what elected officials for so long have refused to do, to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. So help us God.
I'm Eugene Ralph. First Amendment reads, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, nor prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or of the right of the people to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances. In the United States, the right to petition our government is guaranteed by the First Amendment. which specifically prohibits Congress from abridging the right of the people to petition the government for redress of grievances. It is not discussed often, but it is often practiced. Although it is taken for granted, we must consider that many other civil liberties are enforceable against the government only by exercising this basic right. The right to petition is fundamental in a constitutional republic such as the United States, as a means of protecting public participation in government. If this right were not a part of the First Amendment, America would be a much different country. Throughout our history, the petitioning of our government for redress of grievances led to things like the ending of slavery, equal rights for women, and was pivotal in advancing the cause of the civil rights movement in the 60s. Today we find ourselves in a position where elected officials either ignore the Constitution or they give lip service to it. Just a few minutes ago, we were ordered off the sidewalk, public property, in front of the federal building and told that we must come over in this part to hold a press conference, of which news media chose not to show up for. But still in all, we were told to get off of public property. They say they own that property. So in order to not get arrested, in order to not cause any unnecessary confusion, we came over here. But this is the reason that the constitutional defenders of Texas stand before you today and announce the plans to file this petition. Woo!
My name is Robert Kessig. I've been part of Constitutional Defenders since its founding just about 2 months ago. But the other document that's been referred to, the Constitution, was founded over 200 years ago. And the Constitutional Defenders of Texas are here to defend it, to make it perfectly clear to anybody that wants to hear, left wing, right wing, Democrat, Republican, that there are people out here that believe in freedom. And if we don't stand up for freedom now, when will we stand up for it? As the previous speaker mentioned, we were just politely escorted off of federal land. It doesn't say in the Constitution that you're prohibited from peaceably assembling on federal land. It doesn't specify state land. It doesn't specify city land. It specifies to peaceably assemble. It is our freedom, and we're here to offer to anyone who will listen to come join us. Look at the people that are here joining us today. This is the start of a movement for freedom in this country. It doesn't matter whether you're a Tea Party person, a Patriot person, or an Occupy person. Freedom is there for everyone. One of the reasons why we are a nation of immigrants is precisely because of the freedom that was offered over 200 years ago. It was that freedom that was a beacon of hope for people to come here. From Europe, from Asia, from Cuba, from South America, from Mexico. Of course everybody loves freedom, but who is going to stand to protect it? The National Defense Authorization Act was mentioned earlier. It tramples on the First Amendments of the Constitution that were already mentioned. It tramples them over. I urge you to read it. That trampling must be stopped. And let me record that nearly every one of the 32 House members, nearly every one of the 32 House members that represent you in just the state of Texas voted for that act. And our purpose will be to identify each one of these representatives, to bring it to their attention of what their obligations are, that the oath that they swore to, that I swore to when I joined the armed services, and so many other people swore to. Some people swear to it with a serious sense, with a real meaning of words, not just poppycock and political talk. The last person I talked to was a state senator, John Corona. Mr. Corona, after I asked him my simple question about the Constitution, informed me that he was not a constitutional expert. I don't believe that anyone needs to be an expert in the Constitution to be able to read it, believe in it, and abide by the oath that he swore to. The man told me He swore to a U.S. constitutional oath and a state constitutional oath. The purpose of constitutionaldefendersoftexas.com is to make people aware that only freedom-loving people can protect it. It is the will of popular sovereignty, the sovereignty of the individual, that Jefferson told us that the Constitution is merely a piece of paper unless we are willing to defend it.
That's right.
Jefferson wrote the brief to overturn Obamacare. Read it in the Kentucky Resolution. It's already been offered to us as far back as 1798. So now I say, anyone who wants to join us, there's a number of groups out there. Let's join the groups together. Let's join our efforts together. Let's join our voices together. We need hundreds of voices like ours to speak up for the defense of our Constitution and defense of our freedom. Please go and petition at Constitutional Defenders of Texas.
Yeah. Yeah. You think that was planned?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right at 11.